Is Queen Mary 2 bigger than the Titanic? This is a question I hear very often. Titanic is remembered by many people as the world's largest liner, which is a title she held in 1912 when the ship sailed on her maiden voyage. Because of the hype surrounding the Titanic, including blockbuster movies and countless books, articles and websites, the ship's size is still revered to this day. But QM2 is bigger than Titanic, much bigger. In fact, if she was in service today, Titanic would be classed as a small to mid-sized ship, clocking in at a mere 46,000 tons. Compare this to the 227,000-ton Oasis class, which makes QM2 look small, and you get a good idea as to how big ships have become in the last 110 years. Titanic was delivered to White Star Line in 1912. She was the largest liner in the world. The ship was the second in the Olympic class of liners, and took the title of the world's biggest ocean liner from her sister ship, Olympic. Dimensionally, Titanic and Olympic were identical, 882 feet long, 92 feet wide, and 9 decks above the waterline. While the two ships were almost twins, Titanic was modified slightly to give the ship a larger internal volume, thanks in part to screens added to enclose the first-class promenade. This is actually a handy way to differentiate the two ships. Queen Mary 2, on the other hand, eclipses Titanic in every measurement. She's 256 feet longer than Titanic, 55 feet wider at her widest point, and reaches 13 decks above the waterline. QM2's decks are also taller than Titanic's, especially those on Deck 2 and Deck 3, and the ship spans 237 feet high from the keel to the funnel. QM2 is also faster than Titanic. The elder ship utilised a combination of reciprocating engines and a single turbine to run 3 propellers, achieving a top speed of 23 knots. QM2 employs a combination of diesel-electric engines and gas turbines to drive 4 Rolls Royce pods, giving her a top speed of around 30 knots. Though her cruising speed of 26 knots is still faster than Titanic's maximum. So what about luxury? Titanic is remembered as the world's most luxurious ship, so surely her first-class passengers enjoyed more luxurious surroundings than those on board QM2. First class was of a high standard, and we've all seen the photos of her first-class grand staircase, wide open decks, and innovative Turkish baths and swimming pool. Second class was of a high standard, and third class was considered of comparable style to second class of lesser liners at the time. But it might surprise you to realize that the luxury of Titanic was eclipsed within a year of her entry into service. In fact, liners such as Germany's Imperator of 1913 and Cunard's Aquitania of 1914 both surpassed the Olympic-class liners in luxury. Fast forward to the 21st century, and nearly every aspect of a QM2 voyage is more luxurious and comfortable than what you would have experienced aboard Titanic. Take bathrooms for example. Every one of QM2's cabins have an ensuite, from the smallest inside room to the biggest suite, while aboard Titanic only a handful of select first-class cabins had private facilities. Everyone else had to share. QM2 is air-conditioned while Titanic was not. She offers more bars, lounges, and restaurants than Titanic did. The ship has an onboard entertainment staff to keep passengers occupied, and a theatre, a ballroom, and a seagoing planetarium, all absent from Titanic's deck plans. QM2 also offers a high percentage of balcony accommodation, while only a few first-class cabins had their own veranda aboard Titanic. And QM2 has no second or third class. All passengers are welcome to enjoy all of the ship's amenities, bar a few small, select areas reserved for grill guests. QM2 offers a greater space per passenger ratio too. Her 2,695 passengers enjoy a ship of 149,000 gross tons, offering a space ratio of around 1 to 55. Titanic, on the other hand, carried 2,435 passengers. As the ship was just over 46,000 tons, that offers a space ratio of 1 to 18.8, considerably less than Queen Mary 2. The last point that has often risen is fame. QM2 is considered one of the most famous ships in the world, given her unique status as the only active transatlantic liner in the world. But many people point out that Titanic is far more famous and better known. This is probably true. There are so many books, articles, videos, websites, and other documents written about Titanic it would be impossible to count them. But how many of you have heard of Imperator, or the Oceanic, or Sirius? Perhaps some of you, but I'd say the majority of people out there wouldn't recognize those names. So what's my point? It is that while Titanic is the most famous ship in the world, she is famous because she sunk. It is the tragedy of the Titanic disaster that gave her a special place in the history books. QM2, on the other hand, is famous because she is unique, a one-off liner designed in the 21st century. Nothing quite like QM2 has been attempted before or since. and despite her being eclipsed in size and scale by numerous cruise ships, her position as the last of the great transatlantic liners allows her to attract more attention than all of those cruise ships combined. Do you agree? Let me know in the comments below, and thanks so much for watching. If you want to learn more about ocean liners, check out my ocean liner playlist. And until next time, I hope to see you on board.